Permaculture design. This is a framework design that we are doing for a family in Southern California. And if you don't like the music, well, that's just tough, because that's my music that I dig on whenever we do a design. It's from Whole Tones, which you can look up at wholetones.com. It's got a special tonality to the music that with different hertz and different energy levels produce different things. I've done every permaculture design I've ever done has been to this same track, and I put it on repeat, and it's my process. So this right here is the design that this is the property. It goes from this corner here to here to here, all the way back up to this point. It's a very odd shaped property, really. All the way back down here, and there's the front driveway. There's water that runs down the side of this road, and here's a seasonal pond that flows out here and flows down here during major events. As you can see in the bottom right hand side of the screen here on Google Earth, it tells us our elevation. So it tells us the elevation to within a foot. So we can get a rough outline here of where the elevations are on here, and see where we have to go to keep that elevation line to where we know where to put our swales. And this is a pretty complex property. It's actually one of the more complex properties that I've ever done, if we're being completely open and honest about it. Luckily, this person that owns this property has a lovely family, and he also, has the ability to have to get heavy machinery and be able to work with heavy machinery as necessary. So as you can see, if you look down in the bottom right hand corner, there's a valley right here, and you can kind of see it on Google. You can see that contour as we use Google Earth. And I can actually, with Google Earth, it'll let me go all the way down, and so we can see exactly how that contour maps out. And this is why we can do these things on Google Earth. And there is our pond. We're at the top corner of the property now. So we can see how steep of an incline that is on each side. And see how much the water runs down. And it also gives us a little bit of a idea of what we can do with the properties, because it's one thing to look at it from above and try to utilize these elevations here, but it's a completely different animal to actually kind of walk it, right? So you can see things with the eye that you can that you may not ordinarily be able to visualize otherwise. So right here is an interesting opportunity. What I'm seeing right here is, since they do have the ability to utilize heavy machinery to work the property as necessary and to manipulate the property as necessary, I'm seeing an opportunity here to dig some of this out up here, put it back over here, and make a pond. So this will be a high water catchment that will naturally flow out of here, and so we'll have the ability to create a separate basin on property. And will it be seasonal? Probably. This is in Southern California. It will probably be seasonal, but at the same time, we could create, I think we found our spot for a dam right here. Okay, so what we already have done is, I was doing a webinar, sorry about that. What we already have done is we'll be able to, we took a picture of that. We took an aerial view shot of that already. So we're just gonna go in here and we're gonna open this up in Paint. So as you can see here in Paint, which is where I do most of my work, is in Paint. Those of you who have had designs from me know that already. So what we're seeing here, here's the top of the property, and this right here is the opportunity that I was talking about. So here's the high water catchment that's already in place. Here's a pond right here that's already in place, and it runs seasonally. It'll fill up and run down this valley. So what we want to do is we'll probably go ahead and let that keep happening here and place our pond right here. So we'll pull some of this out and we'll dam it up on this side. Now if we're looking at that side, exit ground level view, that's exactly what we're talking about. So we'll back that pond up here, and what we'll be able to do is we'll see, okay, we're at 2878 elevation right here, and we are at 2881 right here. So, and the bottom is 2853. Wow. So there's a 24-foot difference right here in elevation between the bottom of this valley at 2853 and at 2878. Is my math right on that? I don't know. So anyway, what we're looking at here, I think it's 25 feet. So what we're looking at here is we could, let's see how elevation back here. Okay, back up to 75 right here. So we know that we can't go above probably 70. Let's see, it's actually lower here. So the water flows out this way. We know we can't go above this height right here, which would be, I would say, safely 66. Okay, so our pond is going to go from about right here, and it's going to flow back this way, and it's going to come around here at about this elevation, and that's a lot of water, guys. That's a lot of water. So keep it at 2866. We'll mark that. Remember, we're looking at this on Google. All right, so pond at 2866. Now this is at the top of the property. So the property is 5 acres, and so right here is your pond, and right here is at 2853, and it flows down to 2815. So that's a big elevation drop. Okay. That's a big elevation drop right here. And the house is even at 2837, so there's still a 20, you know, call it I guess you call it 30. Okay, the driveway's at 36, so we're looking at a 30-foot elevation difference between the top of the water line up here to the house. So if necessary, and it's a 20-foot difference from, let's see here. So the bottom's at 53, roughly. So at 53, you know, we're still looking at a 17-foot difference here between the house. 17-foot difference here between the house and the bottom of the bottom of the lake. So then we'll see an incredible amount, or an incredible ability rather, to utilize that water on other parts of the property. We could even, because right here is a higher part of the property at 2889, and we could even swale that water come over here, catch it off of here, and put it into that pond. We could even make that work. So yeah, we could totally do that. We could catch water off of here, run it this way, and dump it into the, just move it along this side, just downhill, and dump it into the pond, which is going to be back here. That's one thing that you could do with the water, because that water will, because there's water that comes along down the side of the road right now already, and as you can see right here, if you look, there's some, actually you can see it on the road, there's some wash right there, which the neighbors will probably like too. So there's a ditch here, and so you can pick it up high and put it into the pond, or you can pick it up lower and run it off into a swell system. This is a pretty complex property, probably one of the most complex properties I've worked on as far as the placements are concerned of swales and everything else. So what we're doing is we're getting a preliminary look. I'm looking at where are the swale lines going to be. So what I'll do is I'll just take my mouse, and I'll trace it along here, and I'll say, okay, we have a swale potential. Let's see, starting from this road here, 2873, and I'll just keep my mouse at that elevation. Kind of see where it goes. Just try to keep it at that elevation. And what that's going to do, that's going to give me a basic contour line, okay? And then we know that the other parts of the property are going to follow that, approximately that same contour in those areas. Now right here we have a drop, so we have to. So yeah, so we can tell that there's kind of like a ridge here. It drops off sharp right here because of the way that these contours are moving. Excuse me. Okay. And then we'll look at it on this side. Again, where you put your mouse is where the contour line goes. So what we're just looking at right here is that it's going to be rounded this way. If they want swales on this side, and look, this is steep, okay? This is steep. I don't know if they can put swales on this side because this is a pretty steep hill. If they're comfortable with working machinery at that grade, it's, some of this stuff is pretty steep, so it's going to be up to them. You can see that their neighbor does have some cattle. Okay. Now, after speaking to the owner, I know he wants a more or less of a Garden of Eden feel. We're going to suggest that he put his annuals. His goal is just to feed his family. So we're going to put his annuals close to the house, okay, and then we're going to, whatever else he wants, bees, whatever the case may be, and we're going to put, the chicken coops and stuff like that, stuff he's going to go to every single day, put that closer to the house. The stuff that he may not see every single day, we'll stick it out here in the food forest, and we'll just do what we can with the earthworks as far as that's concerned, and be able to pump water as necessary out of this environment. Okay, and so we'll, because we're gonna have a pond right here that's gonna back up, it's gonna go out this way, which is gonna be pretty cool. All they need to do is just dam it up. So all that's going to take is to dig this stuff out and put it over here, okay, and make a dam there. So I think this is an ideal dam location for this particular property, and yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, guys. I think that's about all the good I can do on this property. From a design standpoint, I think we pretty much filled her up. We gave everything that they asked for. They have grazing areas. There is we put in a situation for a rock waterfall here to go from this swale into here. We didn't waste any catchment on this side, so I feel good about that. And anything that flows over here is just gonna be level, and it can flow back down here into here or into this pond here. This is an outlet coming from here, so anything that they do can be pumped out of here and put back into this swale. It can actually be they can actually pump it from down here and pump it back up to here and let it just go through the entire process, or pump it directly back into the pond. Just go from here to here, and then, which would probably be the fastest route, just go from here to here and make that pump, and then allow it to flow through on two ways. And we don't want to be afraid of utilizing tall bamboos. We don't want to be afraid of making sure that we cover up and protect from the sun. Okay, so let's go ahead and just make sure that we do that, right? We just want to make sure that we're fully protected from the sun as much as possible. That way, all of these, that way the water stays where it's supposed to stay. You know what we can even do on here? Well, these are actually going to be kind of deep. But for this one, we could, if it's necessary, we could put chinampas in there, which are neat. These neat little getters. If it's even, it would be feasible down here. These other ones are a little deep for chinampas, but you could have islands of floating vegetation in here for sure. Let's go ahead and throw a couple of chinampas in here off the bottom side. This is, in chinampas, what you're gonna have here is a place to put vegetation, you know, that loves water. But you can grow any vegetable there, and so you just build this up, you know, a few feet higher than the water level. And you can even, if I may be so bold, trellis across here. Okay, so you can have gourds, melons, even grapes growing off of these trellises here that are over the water. And then you could just take a little canoe and go underneath there and get it harvest as you see fit. Pretty neat little, it's a fun little deal to add to the project. And what you're creating here, you're creating something of extraordinary value. You know, our entire planet is missing this stuff. And with just a little bit of earthworks and some time and some planting and some planning, we now have created a situation that is completely abundant and can actually feed from a fruit production standpoint anyway, and even a protein production standpoint, because we can stock this, right? Can actually feed a lot of people. It can feed your whole area. And you know, you have your raised beds here that you can also trellis, but down here you can grow whatever you want. You can just put any sort of vegetable or flower seed in there, and just a complete mix of it all. And what you're going to end up with is, you know, squash and pumpkins and or zucchini and watermelons and anything else that grows in Southern California will start growing here. You can pump out of these ponds to irrigate your gardens, and you can pump from one pond to the next to make sure that you can that you keep water flowing. And you don't have to pump it back up into this top pond. You can pump it right here. You can pump it to right here. You know, so you can have another pump that goes right here just to create that waterfall effect, if that's what you want for you and your bride to sit out here and have dinner one night. You know, so you can just turn on the pump that starts pumping in right here, fills up this swale, and then it creates the waterfall. Now on to the write-up. Wow, what an awesome project. I really had a good time with this one because this is one of the more, and I've said this a couple of times, this is one of the more challenging projects I've been able to do. So what we have here is a situation where there is almost no flat ground. Everything's moving around. The angles are really steep. The inclines are at a really high grade. And so being able to move things into a situation whereby it's actually functional and being able to get around curves, especially doing everything from Google Earth. And remember, this is just a framework design. I'm not going out to Southern California from Montana just to go to this one property, okay? What people come to me for, they come for a framework design. A framework design is, I'll take a look at it. I'll do all my stuff on Google, all my little tricks. I'll look at the sun angles and I'll look at the wind and everything like that. And then I'll come back and I'll create a design. And what we're looking at when we look at this design is something that you know, with the right machinery, anybody can put this in. You know, and you know, with the right machinery and right skills, of course, anybody can put this in. We've got some really cool chinampas here. We have ground gardens. We have raised beds. We have a place for hoof stock. We have a place for chickens. Ducks you can really put ducks anywhere on this property, at any one of these pond locations. And the ducks' manure will actually help to seal the pond in, okay? In case it starts to leak or something like that, the duck manure will actually seal it up. There's also stuff that you can purchase as well that's completely organic, that will seal up your pond also, okay? Stuff that comes from vegetable oil or something like that. It's really cool stuff. Golf courses use this, completely organic, and it doesn't hinder the growth of the plants on the bottom of your pond. So it's a completely natural deal. We start all the way up here at 2890 and work our way down to 2875. Number 2 is 2875. Number 3 is at 2860, and this fourth swale here is at 2850. The number 5 here is a dam. The top of the dam is at 2830. So we've got a big drop. We've got a 60-foot drop here from this upper swale. Okay, it's a 60-foot drop down from here down to here. Pretty incredible deal. And this is a big property, so we're looking at a lot of linear footage between the two swales. Okay, but we're stacking them high, one on top of the other, because it is so steep. We have to have them closer together so we can get better soakage. Okay, because it's such a steep angle. We have this long one coming out here. Again, this is also at 2875, I believe. Yep. And the dam up here is at 2866. So we actually have over 30 feet from this dam to this dam, 36-foot drop from this dam to this dam here. So this sitting area is really going to surround them in a pretty cool little mountainous spot with a lot of vegetation, which is going to be really fun, right? And so this swale is on contour at 2830, coming all the way out this way. It's going to dip into here. Now here's the cool thing about these chinampas. Even though it's trellised down here, and you have this little area right here, you can start feeding fish in this area. In this area, you can start, put a little feeder out there with a timer on it. So at 4 o'clock every afternoon, it throws, fish food in the water or dog food in the water, and the catfish will rush in, or the bass will rush in, and they'll come in and they'll eat that food. So then what you can do is just by, if you decide you want fish one night, just go down there and put some boards in right here. When the fish feeder goes off and all the fish rush in here to start getting their food, just put the board down. Just put the board across this little aisle here, and as soon as all the fish rush in, put the board down, get your net out, and just scoop out the one that you want, or the 2 or 3 that you want, and then take them back to the house for dinner. Pretty cool deal. So these are old techniques. The techniques have been around for a long time. We didn't invent them, obviously, but it, this was a really fun project. And guys, like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. If you had got anything out of this, if you enjoyed it even a little bit, share it with your friends. Let them know. And if you want your own permaculture design, if you want your own basic framework layout, this is not an expensive proposition, guys. If you want your own basic framework layout, just like this one, takes me a few hours, and we got a lot of research to do, and it comes with a write-up and everything else, which is also really informative about what you can put in your area, what's going to work for you, and stuff like that. All that stuff comes with it. We'll even make you a video just like this one, right along with the whole project. You get to be on our YouTube channel as well, and if you want any stuff like that, go ahead and go to earthcraftpermaculture.com. I'll leave a link in the description. Thank you so much for your time. I'm so glad you got to see this, and I hope you enjoyed it. God bless you. Bye-bye.